Anybody is having yesterday's newspaper that you can send over here? ಅದೇ ಇದು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಕಳಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ? ಎಂಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ? ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. Okay, good morning, everyone. So we are going to start with the newspaper of 17th September 2024. Okay, it's here finally. We'll pick up some important topics. There were some important topics yesterday we can discuss about, especially we'll go to the last pages. So we'll start with this. How do emergency provisions impact center-state relations? What is federal structure of governance in India? How do Article 355 and 356 affect federalism? Okay. So what is federalism? Basically, what is federalism?
Distribution of power between center and states.
Distribution of power between?
Center and states.
Yes. So federalism is different from union. Okay. Both union and federalism show that central government and the units like states share power. Okay. And they show that both are in one single political system. Union as well as federalism both show that the union government and the central government are part of one political system and they share some power. Okay. And that nature of relation between center and the state decides whether this is a union or a federal. Understand this? What is the major difference? The difference is based on what? The difference is based on what kind of relationship is existing between the union government and the state government, or units. We can say states as units of federal system. Okay. If they share separate powers, like in India, for example, we have something called seventh schedule. Indian constitution, we have seventh schedule that is under Article 240. Which article? Seventh schedule, division of powers. Which article? 246. 246 divides subjects into union subjects, state subjects, and concurrent subjects. Basically, here, certain subjects in the constitution itself are divided between center and the state. So there is clear division of power, clear division of powers between center and the state. Okay, this is a federal feature. In the unitary government, central government is more powerful. I think I have already discussed this day before yesterday also, right? Federal power means, unitary power means the central government is more powerful. Federal government means both share power and both are like have equal say and equal existence, and both derive power directly from the constitution. Like here, state governments derive directly power from the constitution. Okay, this is a federal principle. Okay, so is India a federal country or a union country? Is it a union? It's a mix of both, right? But the word federalism has not been mentioned anywhere in the constitution. The word federalism or federal has not been mentioned anywhere in the constitution. Article 1 of Indian constitution, okay, goes on to say that India is a union. India, that is Bharat, is union of states. Union of states, not federal. But there are many federal features, right? Okay. So one important aspect of, uh, now the today's article is talking about Article 355 and 356. How do they affect federalism? So here first you should know what is Article 355 and Article 356. Okay. Can anyone tell me what is Article 355 and 356? Important.
Sir, center will protect the states from external aggression
So
and
this is
armed rebellion.
Article 355. That's not armed rebellion. That's armed rebellion is Article 352. Okay. So see, Article 356, it's most famous, right? When constitutional machine of the state breaks, the president will take over the.
Presidential rule.
So in short, we can say it's a president rule ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ president rule ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. First of all, ಈ articles ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಿದಾವೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, the Rangarajan R, who is a former IAS officer, he is of the opinion that Manipur needs Article 356 because we have been seeing that every day newspaper ಅಲ್ಲಿ front ಅಲ್ಲಿ Manipur issue ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಓದಕ್ಕೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, right? So Manipur ಅಲ್ಲಿ violence ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, that will amount to failure of constitutional machinery. Hence Article 356, that is president rule, should be invoked in the state of Manipur ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. Okay. So to understand all of that, this entire article is important. Like every paragraph here has certain information which is important for your exam. Okay. That's why I've picked up this topic first. Article 355, first of all, you should write down short. Again, you can go and read. Article 355 has two main important provisions. Number one, it tells that, first understand, it is the duty of central government. It is the duty of center to protect every state from external aggression, external attacks, and internal disturbance. Whose duty it is to protect states? Center. Okay. The center has to protect states from external attacks, external aggressions, and internal disturbances. Right. So whatever that is happening in the Manipur now, would it not amount to internal disturbance? It amounts to internal disturbance, correct? Okay. And it has Article 355 has two clauses, two provisions. Number one, the center has to protect every state against external aggression and internal disturbance. And at the same time, it has another provision that is that the center has to ensure that the government of every state is carried in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. I mean, the constitutional machinery of the state should not get disturbed. I mean, the governance and administration of the state should work as per the provisions of the constitution. If there is any happening in the state which violates the constitution or violates the constitutional machinery, then president rule can be imposed. Understanding this? That is not given in Article 355. In Article 355, it has been just given what is the function of what is the responsibility of the central government with respect to the state governments. So central government has to protect state from external aggression and internal disturbance, number one. And at the same time, central government has to, ensure that the government of the state is working in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. Understanding this? So it has to take care of these two things. Central government has to take care of these two things. Okay. Then we'll discuss about Article 356. What is Article 356? It's about president rule, right? Okay. So if president is of the opinion is that a need has arisen in which government of state cannot be carried out in accordance with the provisions of the constitution. If the president feels that the state government is not working as per the provisions of the constitution, right, or the constitutional machine of the state has failed, then based on his satisfaction, based on the satisfaction of the president, the president rule can be imposed on that. Okay, once the president rule will be imposed, then the president will take over the administration of the state. Okay, so remaining basic things you can go and read. Okay, like for example, what's the duration of president rule, right? What's the duration for maximum? Each time it is 6 months. Okay, once a president will impose madre, it will remain in effect for 6 months. Okay, and every time if they can also prolong it, but every time they have to reproclaim it. President has to reproclaim it. President can extend it to 6 months, 6 months, like that, and maximum to what extent he can stretch it, up to 3 years only. But beyond 1 year, it's not easy to stretch it, because there should be national emergency and some other condition. Only based on those conditions, the president rule can be stretched beyond 1 year. Okay, those basic things you please go and read in your polity subject. Okay, so I'm telling you what is Article 355 and what is Article 356. Article 356 deals about the imposition of president rule in the state when constitutional machinery of the state is not working properly according. Okay, that's Article 356. Article 355 says, Article 355 talks about the duty of the central government with respect to state government. There are two duties, two responsibilities central government owes to state governments. Number one, to protect state governments against external aggression and internal disturbance. And second provision is, what is that? It has to see to it that it has to ensure that the central government has to ensure that the administrative machinery of the state is working as per the provisions of the constitution. Okay, so if violation of 355, if the central government is of the opinion that second provision, like constitutional machinery, is not functioning, then president rule can be imposed under Article 356. Okay, so further things you can go and continue it. So yeah, now in the state of Manipur, it is author is of the opinion that situation has arisen where on the basis of internal disturbance, president rule should be imposed. But he is he is criticizing to certain extent that there are same parties in Manipur and Central. Okay, so if there would have been opposition party in the state, then already president would have been invoked already. Okay, so you can understand that, right? Yeah, that's the criticism. But still, you can go through this remaining things in the article. So the recent spate of renewed violence in Manipur has once again triggered the discussion around center-state relations and the use of emergency provisions by the center. Okay, so what is our federal setup? India is a federation. India is also a federation, correct? Is it not a federation? It's a federation also. It's also union. Okay, but federation term has not been mentioned in the constitution anywhere. What India is a federation with government at the center and the states. The 7th schedule of the constitution. What is the 7th schedule? 7th schedule in talks about division of power, distribution of power. Okay, like agriculture is state subject, right? Defense, central subject. Banking, central subject. Law and order, state subject, like that. So the subjects are divided. The responsibilities are divided between center and the state. Under which schedule? 7th schedule. Under which article? 246. Okay. 7th schedule of to the Indian Constitution distributes the power between the union and the states. Under this scheme, it is the domain of the state government to maintain law and order. See, they have given law and order is the domain of state government, not the central government. Okay, in the respective states. What are the emergency? He has explained basic things like what are the emergency provisions. Emergency provisions are provided in which part of the constitution? Which part? Basics. Come on, Odil polity. Odil emergency provisions have been given under which part? Article 352, part 18. Part 18. Correct. So, part 18 ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದಾರಲ್ವಾ ಎಮರ್ಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಪ್ರಾವಿಷನ್ಸ್. ಎಸ್, ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಾ? ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನೋಡಿ. ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟಾದ್ರೂ ಸ್ಮಾರ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೇಕು ನೀವು. The emergency provisions are provided in part 18 of the constitution. Article 355 and 356 deal primarily with affairs of the government in a state under this part. Correct. So again, he has explained what is Article 355. Article 355 imposes a duty on the center. Correct. Article 355 imposes duty on the center, right, to protect every state from what? External aggression and internal disturbance, both. It also specified that the center should ensure that every state government operates according to the constitution, right? Next, he explained what is Article 356. Article 356 allows for the imposition of present rule if a state's government cannot function in accordance with the constitutional provisions. While he has compared with other countries like USA, Australia. They also having federal governments, right? USA is pure federation, correct? They also have federal governments, but they also have duties to protect states from external aggression and internal disturbance. But there is no provision of something like president rule, where central government will take over state governments. And the provisions are lilla, right? While in the US and Australia, federal government functions also involve protecting states. Their constitutions do not contain provisions for removing the state governments. But in India, state government executive can be removed when there is the imposition of president rule, correct? So very important article. You can please, we can go through quickly. You can read it again. B.R. Ambedkar explaining the purpose of Article 355, keeping in the mind the federal character of our polity, that if the center is to interfere in the state's administration under Article 356, it must be by or under some obligation which the Constitution imposes on the center. Hence, Article 355 was incorporated to check. So why this Article 355 is incorporated, as per the opinion of the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the Constitution Assembly, is that center is to if the center is to interfere in the state's administration, Article 3, it must be by or under some obligation. It's not simply, see, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is the opinion is that Article 356, under Article 356, president rule can be imposed on the state government, and state government's executive can be suspended. Okay. But it should not happen. It should not happen unnecessarily. Okay. Or under small reasons. Okay. It should not happen under silly reasons. There should be some obligation on the central government. That's why there is Article 355. Okay. There is internal disturbance. There is reasonable ground. Based on that, Article 356 has to be invoked. Right. And also, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar in the Constitutional Assembly wished that Article 355 and 356 would never to be in operation, would remain a dead letter. He was of the opinion that they should never come into operation. In very rare cases, it should come. Otherwise, it would remain as a dead letter. But what happened? It has been misused. After, right? Article 356 has been misused. Okay, there can be a separate question in mains regarding the misuse of Article 356 itself, right? And wherever, in cases, based on some, you can say not so vague measures or not so vague reasons, this Article 356 has been imposed. Andre ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ತೂಕ ಇಲ್ದಿರುವಂತ ಮ್ಯಾಟರ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ಇದನ್ನ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸೆಂಟ್ರಲ್ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? But I want to highlight one judgment of Supreme Court here, that is S.R. Bommai case. Okay, in S.R. Bommai case, he has given few judgments. Number one, it has made that federalism is part of the basic structure of the Constitution. Do you remember that? Federalism is made as part of the basic structure of the Constitution under S.R. Bommai case. That is one thing. And few other readings of the Supreme Court or the judgments of the Supreme Court under S.R. Bommai cases that with respect to president rule, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar explained, where is that? Here in the third column, S.R. Bommai case 1994, that such misuse were restricted. The court held that Article 356 should be imposed only in the event of a breakdown of constitutional machinery, as distinguished from ordinary breakdown of law and order. Okay. In S.R. Bommai case, it's very important. Whenever you write about president rule, please always include S.R. Bommai case. In mains, whenever you are writing president rule or federalism concept, any answer, please include S.R. Bommai case. And one point in that regarding president rule is that S.R. Bommai case under Supreme Court ಹೇಳಿದೆ, this president rule should be imposed not based on the violation of this law and order in the state. Simply law and order basis ಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು. ಯಾವಾಗ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? ಓನ್ಲಿ ವೆನ್ ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ಸೀರಿಯಸ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ ಲೈಕ್ ಬ್ರೇಕ್ ಡೌನ್ ಆಫ್ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಮಷಿನರಿ ಅಂತ. ನೆನಪಿರುತ್ತಾ ಇದು? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ 356 ನ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಣ್ಣ ಪುಟ್ಟ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದ್ರ ಸಲುವಾಗಿ SR ಬಾಮ ಕೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಇಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ಡ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಸರ್ಕಮ್ಸ್ಟಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ breakdown of constitutional machinery. That's a severe case, not based on breakdown of law and order. And another thing SR Bame case alli ಹೇಳಿರೋದೇನೆಂದ್ರೆ, it also held that imposition of the president rule is subjected to judicial review. This is also important. Earlier judicial review was not there for president rule. You know article 356 ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ? If the president is of the opinion that the constitutional machinery of the state is not the machinery of the administrative machinery of the state is not working according to the province of the constitution ಅಂತ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಇದೆ, if the president is of the opinion, okay, what if that opinion itself is corrupted? Okay, what if that opinion itself is corrupted? There not be valid grounds, but still, okay, there might be some cooked up reasons, right? So then judiciary can review that opinion of the president. That has been given in SR Bommai case. So if simple question in simple statement in prelims that president rule during president rule the opinion of the president is not subjected to judicial review, would it be right or wrong? ಈ ತರ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದ್ರೆ ರೈಟ್ ಆರ್ ರಾಂಗ್? ಜುಡಿಷಿಯಲ್ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ರಾಂಗ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳಿದನಲ್ಲ ಇವಾಗ್ಲೇ, president rule is subjected to judicial review ಅಂತ, right? And should not be misused for political reasons. Clear? Again, you can mention few commissions like Sarkariya Commission, National Commission to Review Working of the Constitution, Poonchi Commission, very important commission. You can all of these commissions have opined that Article 355 not only imposes a duty on the union but also grants in power to take necessary actions for effective performance of the duty. Imposition of the president rule under Article 356 must be used as a last resort in situations of utmost gravity and urgency. Article 350 ಇಂಥ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ it should be used as a last measure, right? It's ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಲೀವ್, ಐ ಮೀನ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಬೇಕಾವಾಗ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಬಟ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ದಟ್, is there a necessity that, what is your opinion now? Is there necessity that there should be president rule imposed in Manipur? Is there necessity? ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದಾ ಮಣಿಪುರಲ್ಲಿ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ? ನೋಡಿ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಬಟ್ ಇವಾಗ ಮಣಿಪುರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀಡಿದ್ರು ಕೂಡ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸಿಸಮ್ ಇರೋದು. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಒಪಿನಿಯನ್, ಓಕೆ? ದಟ್ಸ್ ದ ಆಥರ್ ಇಸ್ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್. ಆನ್ ದಿ ಅದರ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್, ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೀಡ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಮಣಿಪುರ್ ಇಸ್ ಗ್ರೇವ್ currently, correct? Large scale violence against innocent civilians, women and children, looting of ammunition from police armory, drone and missile attacks targeting civilians cannot be viewed as just ordinary breakdown of law. ಇದನ್ನ just ordinary breakdown of law ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಬಾರ್ದು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಗ್ರಾವಿಟಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿದೆ, ತುಂಬಾ ವೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಆರ್ಡಿನರಿ ವೈಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಲಾ ಅಂಡ್ ಆರ್ಡರ್, ರಾದರ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಅ constitutional political expediency, considering that same parties in power at the center and state has resulted in Article 356 not being invoked yet. ಎರಡೂ ಕಡೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿ ಇದಾವೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರೆಸಿಡೆಂಟ್ ರೂಲ್ ಇಂಪೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸಿಸಮ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಓಕೆ, ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಯು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್? ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್? ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಓಕೆ, one article, it has many information regarding this emergency provisions with respect to Article 355 and 356. Okay, what is current status of this is also another important thing that you can learn about. What is the current status of introduction of African cheetahs? So this is with respect to cheetahs, African cheetahs, which have been translocated to India. From which countries? ಎರಡು ಫೇಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅದನ್ನ ರಿಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಎರಡು ಫೇಜಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, so we can learn something about cheetah also here. There is this project cheetah. Under project cheetah we are bringing cheetahs from Africa and translocating them into some national parks of India. Okay, so it has been done in two phases. phase 1 and phase 2. In phase 1, cheetahs from South Africa and Namibia have been brought and they're introduced in Kuno National Park. They will ask you this, where? ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ತಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಚೀತಾಸ್ಗಳನ್ನ? ಆಫ್ರಿಕಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಿ? Namibia and South Africa in phase 1. Okay. And in phase 2, they are thinking to bring it from Kenya. Okay. And again, translocate them into Kuno National Park and one more sanctuary, that is Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary, Madhya Pradesh. Okay. Gandhi Sagar Wildlife Sanctuary, Madhya Pradesh. Okay. So before that, you know that cheetah ಬಗ್ಗೆ basics ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ there are two types of cheetahs, correct? Cheetah. Its scientific name is Echinonyx jubatus anta. Okay. So there are two types of cheetah. One is African cheetah, another one is Asiatic cheetah. Correct? African cheetah are in good numbers. Okay. That's still there, belong to threatened category of IUCN. They are vulnerable. Correct? African cheetahs are vulnerable category. And whereas Asiatic cheetah belong to critically endangered category. Critically endangered category. Critical endangered means they're almost on the verge of extinction. Okay. In India, do we have Asiatic cheetah? Simple question. Think. Guess. Unintelligent guess. Just guess. Do we have Asiatic cheetah? No. We have lost. In 1958 itself, we have lost. Okay. So in India, African cheetahs are extinct. Okay. Of course, we cannot have African cheetah. We could have had Asiatic cheetah, but we do not have that also because they got extinct in 1952 itself. Okay. And one more question that can arise is what is the distribution of Asiatic cheetah? In which countries they are distributed mostly? Huh?
Iran.
Iran. See, currently Iran is the only country which has Asiatic cheetah population. No other country. Okay. African cheetahs are in good numbers. Not in good numbers, but if you compare with Asiatic cheetah, they belong to vulnerable category. Right? In the endangered classification, vulnerable, endangered, critical endangered anta. All three are threatened species only, but vulnerable andre not as dangerous as endangered and critically endangered. Okay. So what's the IUCN status of African cheetah? Vulnerable. Asiatic cheetah, critically endangered, because the number is very few, less than 20. Okay. In Iran also, they can also ask species. Okay, their UPSC is focusing on species, their characteristics, behavior, everything. Okay. Cheetahs are in use, definitely they can ask, right? So if you compare Africa and Asiatic cheetah, this Africa cheetah is like slightly brownish and golden color, whereas Asiatic cheetah has slightly, it has yellowish, bit yellowish. Okay. Understanding this, Asiatic cheetah is bit yellowish and African cheetah bit brownish and golden. And which one is bigger in size? Yes, Asiatic or African? African cheetahs are bigger in size. Asiatic cheetah are slightly smaller than Asiatic cheetah are slightly smaller than African cheetah. Correct? And Asiatic cheetah has more fur under its belly. This underbody, fur is more for Asiatic cheetah. They can ask these also. Okay, don't think I'm talking something unnecessary. They will ask everything, like the behavior and this characteristics, etc. Okay, you can work on it again. So now what we are doing, we are bringing these cheetahs from Africa in two phases. In phase 1, we are bringing it from South Africa and Namibia. We already brought, right? Okay. But under Project Cheetah, we are doing that, right? But this project has seen significant setbacks. Okay. Because many cheetahs have died in India after translocating it from there. Have died in India. Okay. Basically, the main reason is they're held under captivity. They're not directly released into the wild, like forest Okay, they were held in captivity, and they have to be held in captivity before introduction. But how much time do you keep in the captivity? That's important. In India, they have kept it in captivity for longer duration. That's the reason they are dying. The main reason in this article that they have given is that more number of cheetahs are dying because they are held under captivity for longer duration than prescribed. Okay. Um, and this article discusses many things, very informative. Please go through it. It also talks why. It also tells that why cheetahs have been. Why we are translocating. Why are we bringing? What is the need? Tell me what is the need. Anybody? Huh? To maintain ecological balance. Correct. If I have to elaborate it, see, cheetah is the top predator, right? In the food chain ಗೊತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಫುಡ್ ಚೈನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೀತಾ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಾ, ಮಿಡ್ಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಾ, ಎಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಾ, ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತಾ? ಟಾಪ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಸೊ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎಟ್ ದಿ ಟಾಪ್, and these top predators are very important species, right? uh, so they maintain the population of other species, correct? If when the population of other species are maintained, that ecology, that ecosystem also works in a balanced way. For example, if the forest ecosystem is protected by top predators, how? I will give one simple example. Like there are deer and deer basically eat grasses, for example, right? And I will give one simplistic example. In the top level, there is tiger and cheetah and other top predators, right? Other carnivores. They feed on deer, correct? ಜಿಂಕೆಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಟ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾ, deer feed on grasses, correct? So if the population of top predators decline, population of deer increases, then the grassland level, it, then there will be excessive grazing and that decreases. So that is imbalance. So there should be, this is called food chain, from grass to deer and deer to cheetah or tiger, right? There should be perfect balance. If one species, if you remove, the entire chain will get disturbed. This is called ecological balance. This ecological balance would get disturbed if one species goes extinct. That's why we are introducing cheetah, not only to conserve cheetah population. That's, of course, that's also one of the objectives, to conserve cheetahs. But that's not the only objective. Another objective is to maintain the wider, the bigger ecosystem itself, right? So with long-term success hinging on finding sufficient habitat, scientific management, and community support, the project future depends on overcoming these enormous challenges. See, there are other important advantages of translocating also that will help in the conservation of the entire ecosystem, that species and other population of the species. And also it would, it was expected that it would give livelihood to communities living around that forest, because that will increase ecotourism, right? Tourism would give livelihood to those population also. But that has not happened because the cheetahs are dying. Okay, why they are dying? What's the main reason he has he's talking about? Prolonged captivity, right? And in the article, if you go on, he has also given whose responsibilities it is to, maintain this. It's a responsibility of Ministry of Forest, Environment, Forest and Climate Change, NTCA, Madhya Pradesh Forest Department, and Wildlife Institute of India. So these four important organizations are responsible for, carrying out this translocation program. Okay, will you go through this? You have to go through this, please. It's informative. I'm again telling you, right after the class, please go through it, because I don't want to spend too much time on one article. Okay? Or should I further elaborate this? No answer. Okay. Leave it. Have you understood a little bit about that? African cheetah aesthetics, the basics and all? Okay. Yeah, that's also thing. Of course, then see India, this is open savanna type of climate, both Namibia and India, like why they are choosing Kuno National Park is because it has open forest. Madhya Pradesh has deciduous forest, open forest ಅಂತಾನು ಕೂಡ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, parkland forest ಅಂತ ಕೂಡ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. Okay, so that is like perfect for cheetahs. They are not, yeah, again, climatic, I mean, yeah, the climate is also a factor for the death of cheetahs. Um, but prolonged captivity and sudden release is something which is causing major danger. Yeah. Okay. Please go through that. Once ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ? It will be easier if you go through it now. Next, that's another important article. This is also, I think we have discussed this, right? This Samagra Shiksha and PM Sri. We have discussed this. Tamil Nadu. We have discussed in some. Shall we discuss it again? So basically, Tamil Nadu has not received funds for Samagra Shiksha funds. There is some scheme called Samagra Shiksha Fund. Under that, there is another program also is being implemented called PM Sri. Okay. The point is that, overall point is that central government is imposing uh, that the Tamil Nadu government should accept the National Education Policy 2020. Central government does not want to implement it. Sorry, Tamil Nadu government does not want to uh, implement National Education Policy, and it is criticizing central government that central government is forcing us in an indirect way. What is an indirect way? It is telling that it is not releasing funds for other schemes like Samagra Shiksha funds, because Tamil Nadu government is telling that the Samagra Shiksha funds, release of Samagra Shiksha scheme, the Samagra Shiksha scheme is tied to national education policy. It's like only if you sign national education policy, I will release funds. Otherwise, not. Like indirect pressure, it central government is imposing on state government like Tamil Nadu to sign NEP and implement it. Why Tamil Nadu government is not in support of, or why it is not invoking or not implementing national education policy? What could be the reasons? ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದಾ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? Most importantly, there is one important factor which Tamil Nadu government is not liking under national education policy. Huh? Language. Yes, there is 3 language formula anta ide national education policy. One, in national education policy, right? um, National education policy is promoting regional language. At the same time, 3 okay, 3 language should be taught to students from early stages only. That's Hindi and regional language, like any regional language, Tamil or and English. Okay. But Tamil Nadu follows 2 language formula. That's Tamil and English. Okay. That's one contentious issue. And apart from that, Tamil Nadu state already follows this 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 formula, curricular formula. But in new education policy, we have 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. 5 plus 3 plus, otherly first 5 we have elementary education also in national education policy. That's basically 3. I mean, 3 means first 3 years elementary education, and class 1, class 2, 2 years. So together 5 years. Okay. You may not catch up with me at this speed. Please go and read national education policy, important features. Okay. I'm just giving you what is the contentious issue. The curricular formula is also different, right? Because Tamil Nadu is following 5 plus 3 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. But if they have to sign national education policy, they have to implement different curricula, right? And other hurdles are like 3 language formula and curriculum changes. Okay. And also Tamil Nadu is many of the provisions in the national education policy. Similar provisions already existing in state education policy, and we are implementing it. Why do you have to sign it? That's the another argument. Okay. And central government is linking Samagra Shiksha funds with national education policy. That's also criticism. With that, Tamil Nadu government is criticizing that This linkage between Samagra Shiksha, release of Samagra Shiksha funds and NEP, it infringes upon the state's constitutional autonomy in education. Okay, because yes, yes. And this issue is not only a recent one. Okay, he has given history of this language fight. This three language formula recommendation has been in every national education policy since 1968. It is not the first time that in some national education policy three language formula has been implemented since 1968 in every national education policy. Okay, this three language formula has been implemented in many states by teaching the local language as well as English and Hindi. So Hindi is the factor here, as well as English and okay. Also with Sanskrit also offered as an option, especially in Hindi speaking states in earlier national education policies. Tamil Nadu has had a long standing opposition to this formula dating back to social movements in the pre-independence era only. Okay, from a widespread agitation against mandatory Hindi in the 1930s to violent anti-Hindi riots in the late 1960s to protest against the national NEP and Navodaya schools in 1986, there has been a consistent political consensus on this issue. Okay, it's the same issue. The issue that the anti-Hindi protests are not, they were existing even before now, since pre-independence. Okay, please go through this also. Okay. Initially, they have introduced something about Samagra Shiksha. What is the Samagra Shiksha scheme? It is an integrated, centrally sponsored scheme where centrally sponsored scheme means funds will be divided between center and the state. 60% would be given by central government, 40% should be bore by state. So, what is the scheme? It is for education from nursery till class 12 with components. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನೇನಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನರ್ಸರಿ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಇಂದ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ 12 ವರೆಗೂ ಓವರ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಸಮಗ್ರ ಶಿಕ್ಷಾ. ಸಮಗ್ರ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಕಾಂಪ್ರಿಹೆನ್ಸಿವ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ನರ್ಸರಿ ಟು class 12 with components for teacher training, salaries, special education, digital education, so school infrastructure, administrative reforms, vocational and sports education, and with grants for textbooks, uniforms, libraries. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಡ್ ಇದೆ ಈ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕಾಂಪ್ರಿಹೆನ್ಸಿವ್ ಸ್ಕೀಮ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಸಮಗ್ರ ಶಿಕ್ಷಾ ಅಭಿಯಾನ್. ಓಕೆ, the scheme's estimated outlay for 2021 to 26 is 2.94 lakh crore with center and states at sharing the burden in the ratio of 60:40. For 2024-25, Tamil Nadu's allocation under the scheme was 3,586 crore. Okay, so basically they are not being released. That's the point. Okay, they're not releasing. Central government is not releasing the funds. In a letter to Prime Minister Narendra Modi last month, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin accused the center of imposing a prerequisite for funds. See, already a letter has been written to Prime Minister Modi by the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, accusing the center that you are imposing a prerequisite. What is the prerequisite? Sign the NEP, then only I will release the funds for this scheme. Okay. Namely signing of memorandum of understanding for another centrally sponsored education and also PM3 ಅಂತ ಇನ್ನೊಂದಿದೆ, that's under Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan only. So it's like central government is also imposing state government to sign that. Okay, that Samagra PM3 ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಲೈನ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. What is this scheme? PM3 scheme being run from 2022 to 27. What is the time period of PM3 scheme? ಇದು ಕೇಳಬಹುದು ನೋಡಿ. PM3 scheme, what is the time period of this scheme? 2022 to 2027. What is the aim? To create 14,500 model schools across the country. ನೋಡಿ, ಕೆಲವೊಂದು ಫಿಲಿಮ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಇಂಥ ಡೇಟಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು? 14,500 ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಸ್ ನ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಓಕೆ, ಅಕ್ರಾಸ್ ದ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ ಅಂಡರ್ PM3 scheme. Okay, so this is to implement national education policy basically. Okay, will you go through it again? We have discussed almost all points. You can read other articles also, not so important as this. These three were main important articles today. And you can see Nipah death, that case they're going on, right? Okay, we'll discuss one more article. I'm finding out important. That is,
Sir, ಅದು ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ನೋಡಿದ್ರ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಮ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
yeah. Quantum computing, yes. Where is it actually?
ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಪೇಜ್.
Simultaneous polls again news ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. It's very important because this India government wants to implement it in this term only. ಈ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಟರ್ಮ್ ಮುಗಿಯೋವರೆಗೂ simultaneous election ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾರಲ್ವಾ. Simultaneous election ನಿನ್ನೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಲ್ವಾ. Please go through it. And one homework for you. Tell me, okay, this which provisions of the constitution have to be amended in order to implement simultaneous elections. Simultaneous ಏನೇ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಲ್ಲ, one nation one election, that is simultaneous elections. ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಎಂತೆಂತ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗಳು ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಇನ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ನೋಡ್ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ಇವತ್ತು? ಸರ್ಚ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? ಓಕೆ. There is one more thing. See, scientists seek transparency in Vigyan Puraskar selection scheme. Vigyan Puraskar award, actually earlier ಇದರ award ಹೆಸರು ಶಾಂತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪ್ ಭಟ್ನಾಗರ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ಇತ್ತು. ಏನೋ what is that? Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar Awards. They have been renamed as ಏನಂತ ರಿನೇಮ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ್ ಪುರಸ್ಕಾರ್ ಅಂತ, RVP. ಓಕೆ, ಬಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸಿಸಮ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಹೊಸ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಗಳಿಗೆ ರಿನೇಮ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಏನ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಪರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಕ್ರಿಟಿಸೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಮುಂಚೆ ಶಾಂತಿ ಸ್ವರೂಪ್ ಭಟ್ನಾಗರ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಅದನ್ನ ಯಾರು ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅಂದ್ರೆ CSIR ಕೊಡ್ತಿತ್ತು, ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿಯಲ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್. ಯಾರು? Traditionally, the SSB awards were administered by the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, because related to science, okay, and technology. Where a panel used to, from various fields, they used to sit and they used to discuss, and they would transparently decide a candidate, okay, candidates for who are eligible for receiving this award. But under this new new award and the renaming of the award, RVP, it follows a different posture. There is an Apex Rashtriya Vigyan Puraskar Committee anta ide, RVPC. That committee, which constitutes subjects advisory committees, okay, it has some expert members, nominated scientists, etc. But the problem is this committee recommends to the government, then the government will decide ultimately. Understand this? Then the government can reject also, like political consideration togobodu anta. If anybody is of the criticism, if anybody is of the critic to the central government, okay, then from political grounds, there could be hidden agenda, and the central government may reject that candidature. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಸೊ ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹತ್ರ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರಾ ಇವಾಗ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದೇ ಕ್ಯಾಂಡಿಡೇಟ್ಗೂ ರಿಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ಒಂದು ಕಮಿಟಿ ಸೆಟಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, RVPC ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ ಕಮಿಟಿ ರೆಕಮೆಂಡೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ? ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ. ಅಲ್ಟಿಮೇಟ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಯಾರು? ಗವರ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ this has led to some criticism, okay, because a media report alleged that some of the scientists who are part of RVPC weighted list were dropped at the last moment because they were critical of certain government policies. Okay, that's the criticism. Selection process gotaita. Earlier SSB daga CSR used to give. Now there is a committee which recommends to the central government. Ultimately now the awards are decided by government. So where is that article on quantum computing?
So last page.
Yeah. How quantum computing can make large scale models even better. Yeah, this article, it mainly tells that this quantum computing, as we are doing now, okay, we are using in the recent years, the landscape of AI, particularly with the realm of natural language processing, has undergone remarkable transformation. We have witnessed uh, the rise of powerful language models, LLMs, made by OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft, and all the generative AIs, characterized by unparalleled ability to generate data based on the user inputs. Okay. Uh, yeah. So basically, what they're telling is that, currently, whatever the method they are following for something called large language models, large language models, like Chat GPT and other generative AIs, they use artificial intelligence and natural language processing, etc. And based on the input data, they process the language, and okay, they have to process this language, right? That is called large language models, right? So that is leading to some other complications, uh, like it is consuming a lot of electricity. They're not energy efficient. Understand that, because it involves complex um, processing, right? So that will consume a lot of electricity, and it's not energy efficient. That will lead to climate emission of carbon dioxide, and because the processing ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ it's not, it requires uh, supercomputers, and it requires high electricity consumption. You can go through it. For example, as models go, LLMs are much larger than other AI applications such as computer vision. The energy consumption of large language model LLM is determined mostly by number of parameters it has. Larger models demand more computational power, correct? It requires higher computational power, both training and interface. During interface and even during training. Well, training also we have to provide lot of input, and that would undergo a lot of computational processes. During that processes, it consume a lot of electricity, right? They have given some information data also, like how much electricity consumes. That's not important. This is around what an average American household consumes in 120 years. Okay, that is being consumed by these GPTs and other generative AIs. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? So that's where we have to bring in with a new thing, that is um, yeah, they first in the first phase they are discussing shortcomings of existing large language models, where we have to train, providing a lot of input, that a lot of computational processes that would consume a lot of electricity, and that's again not, in that's not in conjunction with the climate targets that we are following, that because that will lead to global warming, correct? Higher electricity consumption andre ಹೆಂಗೆ higher electricity consumption ಆದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? Burning of fossil fuels only, right? That will lead to higher release of carbon dioxide, and again exacerbate the climate change, correct? And another shortcoming is that LLMs pertains to their pre-trained nature, which restricts the level of control users have over the functioning. They have to be like trained first. Current systems, large language models, they have to be trained. Whatever the, including the generative AIs like Chat GPT we have, they have to be trained first. Correct? Okay. These models are trained on large data sets, which large data sets with which they develop awareness of word use patterns in diverse linguistic contexts. But such training often also results in hallucinations. Correct? That means they generate text that is contextually coherent but factually incorrect and semantically nonsensical. See, that's why they say that they cannot replace human, because that cannot be semantically coherent. See, there are two things, some syntactics and semantics. syntax andre syntax and semantics in this language. Anybody know that? Technical error, yeah. Basically it's about the arrangements of words, how the words are arranged in a sentence. That is syntactic. Semantic means it's about the meaning of the word. Okay, so current things, it's not it's good at semantic, but it's not good at syntactic. Are you understanding this? What is syntactic? If you understand syntactic and semantic, you will get to know one limitation of existing this large language models. What is syntactic? Tell me again. Syntactic andre ಒಂದು sentence ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ arrangements of words, like technically how they are arranged in an order, that will add the that will only give exact meaning of the sentence, right? So this arrangement, this grammatical part is what? Syntactic. Semantic means, what is semantic? It concerned about the meaning of the sentence. Okay, so the current existing large language modules are somewhat good at semantic, but they're limited with the syntactic. Okay, so that's where we have to bring in this that's why we have to bring in quantum computing anta. First ಏನ್ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ, ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಹೇಳಿದಾರೆ ಯಾರ್ದು? ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಯೂಲ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅದರ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆಂಟ್ AI and natural language processing, which is part of artificial intelligence, right? ಸೊ ಚಾಲೆಂಜಸ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸರಿ ಸಮ್ ಅಪ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಇಟ್ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ ಗೆ ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಇದನ್ನ. ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಚಾಲೆಂಜ್ ಇದೆ, ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಡ್ಯೂರಿಂಗ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಅಗೇನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಬೇಕು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ಇಟ್ ಕ್ಯಾನಾಟ್ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ನಾನ್ LLMs not only perform language processing tasks but also non-language tasks. LLPs also function non-language tasks like image classification, making energy demands even higher. Okay, and their capacity to understand language is also limited, because they also face challenge in understanding complex semantic relations. So semantic relations alone they face challenges. They struggle with generating hallucinated information or answers that are factually incorrect but linguistically plausible. Another restriction is that rigid structure. LLMs, large language models, often work on static data sets, limiting their understanding of dynamic or real world context. Basically, they work on static data sets, but the world is changing. The new data sets are being updated. So that's a challenge, that real world contextually they are not perfectly fit anta ಹೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ over a period of time in future. Okay, so because of all these limitations that we have to look for some other technology, that is quantum natural language processing, QNLP anta. What is that? QNLP, which is an updation of current, because quantum processing works on few things, basically like superposition and entanglement. So this is bit technical concept, superposition entanglement. Please you can go and read it. Quantum entanglement on the topic ಇದೆ, right, where two particles interact in no time, like they're superimposed. Andre like there is one particle in one part of the universe, another anti-particle in another part of the universe. They're interacting at the same time in no time. How they are interacting, because they are connected. This is called quantum entanglement. ಒಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ ಕಡೆನೂ ಅದೇ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಂಟಿ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಂತ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಅಜ್ಯೂಮ್ ಟೂ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್, ಒಬ್ಬ US ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾನೆ. US ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಿಂಗ್ ತಿರುಗಿದೆ, ಇವನು ಹಿಂಗ್ ತಿರುಗ್ತಾರೆ. ದೇರ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆನ್ಸೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಮ್ ಎಂಟ್ಯಾಂಗಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಬಿ ಯೂಸ್ಡ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟೇಷನಲ್ ಪರ್ಪಸಸ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ದಟ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಕ್ವಾಂಟಮ್ ಪ್ರೊಸೆಸಿಂಗ್. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ಯಾ? ಸೊ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಟೈಮ್ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ, ಬಟ್ ಅಟ್ ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ಒಂದು ಏನೋ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಾ? ಕ್ವಾಂಟಮ್ ಎಂಟ್ಯಾಂಗಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಸ್, quantum natural language processing. Quantum computing uses principles like, okay, in prelims if they ask, quantum computing works on two principles. Which are they? Superposition and quantum entanglement. Write down. Okay. Superposition, quantum entanglement, allowing for better computational efficiency, understanding complex data patterns. And ಇದರಿಂದ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಎಫಿಷಿಯನ್ಸಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತೆ. QNLP models consume low energy than conventional LLMs. We already have discussed the limitations of LLMs. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಏನು, existing LLMs though it consumes more energy, not energy efficient, correct? But when we bring in quantum natural language processing, it will increase the efficiency anta, because they consume low energy for. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸೂಪರ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಂಟ್ಯಾಂಗಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ವಾಂಟಮ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸೇಮ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ನ ನಾವು ಲೋ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಡಿಮ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಅದನ್ನ ಸೇಮ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ನ ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಸೊ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಮೋರ್ ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಅಂಡ್ ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ಡ್ ಸೆಮ್ಯಾಂಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿತ್ತು? LLM ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದ ಓವರ್ ಆಲ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ರಿಹೆಂಟಿವ್ ಕೋಹರೆಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್, ಅದು ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್ LLM ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಬಟ್ once we introduce quantum computing, the semantic understanding of syntax and semantics both will improve. Understanding that? And it's also helpful for handling complex data, right? Which is a limitation in current LLMs. Okay. So basically they have compared ಈ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, in the beginning they have discussed the limitations of existing large language modules, okay, which works on AI, artificial intelligence and natural language processing, NLP, correct? Limitation ಏನು, ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಎಫಿಷಿಯಂಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಅಂಡ್ ಸೆಮೆಂಟಿಕ್ಸ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲೆಕ್ಸ್ ಮೀನಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ನ ಕರೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಈ ತರ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲಿಮಿಟೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಒನ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ quantum natural language processing or quantum computing, which works on superposition and entanglement, once we bring quantum computing, all these limitations will be solved, because quantum computing is more efficient, its semantics understanding of language is much better, okay, and syntax also it's much better, the arrangement of this language words, that's also much better, and it is also capable of handling complex data, correct, for simultaneous processing of multiple outcomes, improving ability to manage diverse linguistic patterns and enhancing this NLP tasks. Understanding this? So this is the overall so what we have discussed today, fast 30 seconds any discuss madidvi. We have discussed about emergency president rule, article 355 356 in detail. Next, African cheetahs, the difference, Asiatic cheetah in difference ಇದೆ, why they are translocating, from where we are translocating, in which national park, okay, and why, what's the problem, that also I have understood, correct? Next, that is some issue like with respect to the release of funds to the Tamil Nadu government, okay, and 3 language formula, some other provisions, and also we understood Samagra Shiksha Yojana Abhiyan and also PM Sri, okay. Next, ನೋಡಿ ಪದೇ ಪದೇ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೆ PM Sri, this they will ask, ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದರ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್, ದಟ್ ಅವಾರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಾ, ಮತ್ತೆ
quantum computing.
Okay, please revise and please go through the newspaper again and complete it, okay.